What's up, everybody? It's me, Johnny, and with me, I've got DJD, Farmer, and Craig. What is up, everybody?
Glad to be back.
It's episode 1 of season 10 of a Navcast, so it's Farmer's, annual seasonal episode that he
It's
appears in.
Feels like
they only allot, like, I can only, as far as the budget goes, only one or two per season.
You don't get to blame us anymore, okay? You do not get to put that on us.
Yep. No, they cut me.
That's not true.
I like the idea that we have a budget. That sounds great.
That's the funny part, yeah.
But yeah, Farm, how's your power supply? How's your power supply going?
Yeah, so I don't think it was actually the power supply. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride over here. I pretty much test every piece of hardware on my computer. Finally found out that it wasn't the power supply. It was actually my CPU. But my CPU,
the DVD drive,
the CPU wasn't completely dead. So that was the biggest problem, because it was still loading up to a certain point, and then once it got a harder, it was more like a heavy calculations. When it started getting a little bit more of trying to load Windows, then it would just freeze and lock up. So it had some kind of something wrong. Something was firing wrong on the CPU, and it was ruined. So I had to get a new CPU. Once I got that, still had some other issues because Windows files were corrupted. I'm still having it glitch every once in a while. So I've reinstalled Windows on a different hard drive, and I'm slowly pulling over. Like, it still works, but it's just glitchy. So I'm slowly pulling over all my programs over to the other installed Windows drive. Just kind of like repathway everything. And it's just, as files go, it just takes a long time to sort through all this stuff to just get it the way you want it. After you've had it for so long, for so many years, it's just so that's basically what I'm doing right now, is just file management. Ugh. Rough. It's rough out there.
Windows users will do anything except switch to Mac. They'll do anything.
It wouldn't help anything, honestly. These files, even if I swapped over to Mac, they're just, I would still have to, move them one way or another, reinstall applications, all this stuff. So it's just, I'm
Mac, when you get a new computer, you can just download that backup, and it's like it's the same computer.
But what happens if you download that backup that is, has all the corruption and everything? Then you
just go back one. You just go back to before the corruption.
Okay.
You go
back in time.
It's literally, they actually used to literally call it Time Machine, and it would back up your computer every day, and you could choose which day, like which version of the backup you wanted if you needed to go back in there. I don't think it's called that anymore, but back in the day, it did actually used to be called that.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're kind of fixing it. File management. The problem with file management is it takes a long time. And then, it's kind of a thankless job, and it just makes other things easier. Right? If you need that thing, you can get it quickly.
If you have it pre-set up, if you do the initial groundwork. If you mess it up, though, and you're looking for a lot of extra work down the road. So, so I'm looking at the light. Like, I think I said this last time, but I am actually seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I've got to do a few more things, and then I'll be gold. And if I cut out tonight, that's probably that might be one of the reasons. It's been, again, I'm running on this operating system that is glitchy right now, just because everything's installed still over here, like Discord and things like that.
I love the idea that he says that maybe that's the reason he cuts out, but he just hangs up and goes to bed.
Yeah.
I have a gig tomorrow. Actually,
I cut out,
I have
you guys.
a strict schedule, 20 minutes. No. I
like my old Chicago caffeine runs.
I hated missing last week. It fell on the same time, and I already, and the week before was computer. I plan to be here. I try to be. I'm going to try to be more consistent.
And we talked about Halo last week too.
We talked about the whole episode was Halo.
I hate you guys.
Combat.
You guys always do that when I'm
campaign
gone.
Evolved.
All the stuff that I want to talk about.
Yeah, and we're not talking about it this week because we already talked about it last week. We can't talk about.
We have a lot of.
We can't rehash
it.
To
cover.
We have old news that I want to cover. How did we miss on this video game podcast that Fortnite came back to iOS in May? It's November. In May, it came back.
See, I didn't know that,
iOS.
But I would never play Fortnite on my phone. I don't think so.
I wouldn't either. You know what? I saw today, I was like downloading updates and I saw like an advertisement for Fortnite on my phone. How have I not seen this?
It's interesting how they dipped into that market and then they retracted and now they're back. They're going. It's like, you know what? This was worth it.
Well, it's a couple of things. It's the number one game in adventure games on the App Store. It's the only game by Epic on the App Store. Like, they haven't brought back the Infinity Blade games. But there's a couple of things here. In Fortnite, I remember seeing a teenager playing Fortnite on their phone way back in the day and thinking that seemed really strange compared to playing it on console. But I saw this. I actually got excited to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about something like super topical, like Fortnite's back. And then as I was like researching different stuff about it, it turned out that it came out like in May.
Right.
It came back.
And what's crazy is like, I'm pretty sure that we even commented that like Apple won the law or Apple lost the lawsuit, right? Like I think when that happened,
somehow we missed
that, but we
missed
follow the results of it. Yeah.
We missed Fortnite coming back. Yeah, pretty wild, to be honest with you.
May 20th, that's crazy. That's wild.
I know. That's May 20th, right? The Destiny game is number 23, by the way.
Apparently it's better than Destiny now.
Woo!
Destiny
Rising.
There's also I think, what is it? A Horizon game coming to mobile only and not PlayStation or PC.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
But they also released their their projected release or something like that for the newest title. And I don't know if you'd noted. Well, I think we talked about it, about the what was the studio? It just left, the name left me, but there was a studio that had a game that was very much like Horizon, that they're like suing. I remember that. Tencent or something like that. I can't remember the name exactly, but yeah. So, and then they've released this game, this new title that's, I feel like, somehow they were definitely like, copying. I mean, it looked like 1-to-1. It wasn't like Pokemon Power, where there is still some similarities, but there was actually some very much differences. This is actually like very much more of that. I'm not quite sure how that's going as far as whether who's going to win, but it's an interesting topic for sure on both sides, because I like Horizon, but I'd be interested to see their take, at the same time, even though it may be almost like a mirror image of the game. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Horizon and God of War are two games I have on my Steam Deck that I haven't been able to get into. I mean to get to them. I just haven't been in the headspace. It's one of those. I haven't been in the headspace. I think I remember back when I did Witcher 3, I tried to do Witcher 3, I think 2 times. And then finally the third time is the time that like I really got into it and felt it. And it's kind of the same with God of War and Horizon, to be honest. I've played a decent amount in each one, but I'll probably just have to restart when I go back to them because it's been that long,
I've been really struggling to, honestly, to get into any games, because it's just like I want to get into a game, but then do I have the time to justify, immersing myself in that single player game? And that's been the big struggle lately. It's just like I want to, but then I'm also like, I'll just go to bed or something like that,
Well, what's a great game to dip in and out of, like if you just like want something like to kill a few minutes or whatever, is Ball X Pit. which is fantastic.
I've never heard.
I thought you were going to say Helldivers 2 because that's what I play. I play I know I can do a blitz. It's not going to be more than 15 minutes. A regular mission's not going to be more than 30 minutes. And like I'll just jump in and play a round of Helldivers 2 and then jump out. That's been what I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean that always works as well. Ball Pit, I feel like you could play on your phone or like whatever too, and it would probably work pretty well. I don't know if it requires a controller though. It might. But like it's kind of like a Tetris meets like Vampire Survivors a little bit, meets pinball a little bit. So really, really fun game. Yeah, really fun game. And then it's got a little bit of SimCity too.
So I feel we should transition into the thing on everyone's mind. Farm, did you catch Steam's announcement last week?
I dipped my toes into it just a bit, but I don't know the whole spiel really.
So Steam has announced 3 new hardware items that are coming out Q1 in 2026. I think it's Q1. Right, D? I think so.
Yes, Q1, I think. Yeah.
They have announced the Steam controller, not to be confused with the other product, the Steam controller of the same name, and they're not changing it or adding numbers.
or even Steam Box to like Steam Box. I mean, like, yeah, right. Not to be confused
and
with the previous.
They announced another piece of hardware is it called the Steam Box? Is that what they decided to call Steam Deck? Yeah, no, Steam Machine.
Steam Machine.
Steam Machine,
which is
not
what
to
they
be confused with the Steam Machine of the same name from
Steam
a few years
Machine
ago.
I like the idea of Steam Machine, and then it actually has a mod where it can actually make Steam or something like that. Somebody's gonna do that. Somebody out there, they've got it.
Steam Machine. And they announced the Steam Frame, which is a VR headset. And all of these link together and do well, and apparently are supposed to pair well with the Steam Deck. So the Steam controller, I don't really care that much about. It's a new controller for Steam that has touchpads like a Steam Deck does, so you can play. It looks kind of stupid. I kind of agree. It looks a little weird, but then again, I will say this: having the touchpads on the Steam Deck is great. To be able just to go through things and such, or like playing World of Warcraft on the Steam Deck, not really an issue with the touchpads.
Well, and it's nice to have a touchpad honestly on the PS5 controller too when it comes down to it. It's one thing that like I feel like it would be nice to have on an Xbox controller is a little touchpad instead of the Xbox button or something. But
the Steam Machine that's so Xbox is over, right? Like they're done. That's it. They pack it up. They're done. They're stepping out of the game, and Steam is just going to take their place, right? The Steam Machine supposedly, so it's running Steam OS, which is Linux. And they're going to have right now they have something called Deck Verified to show if games are verified to work on the Steam Deck. They're going to expand this to show how it works on the Steam Machine as well. But it supposedly has the power of 6 Steam Decks. And is going to be able to run like the newer gen games, which for someone like me, and the VR,
which is an interesting take. For
someone like me, it's a big thing.
I mean, I see this as interesting because Xbox was kind of like trying to, I think, in a way, be all buddy with Steam. Trying to get all of these things working and go into a PC ecosystem. But now, like Steam's like doing the, Valve's doing the opposite thing. It's like, okay. We're this is our realm, and we're gonna grow it the way we want to do it.
Well, it's interesting because it's also, I mean, it's a PC, right? I mean, technically, it's a Linux, right? But it's also just a computer, and you can do computer things on it. I am so stoked. I am totally gonna buy one.
Johnny's branching out of Apple. He's going to Linux.
Well, Apple, it's more than I think I'm gonna stop investing in Microsoft.
Oh man,
with all the moves Microsoft's been making this year, it feels to me pretty clear that they are taking steps away from hardware gaming and such. And, I don't want to end up like you guys and get, movies and TV taken away, and I've invested all that money and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want to end up in that boat.
It's funny you should mention that, because Xbox President Sarah Bond had an interview that got published this morning where she said that hardware is still the core foundation of Xbox. Full stop.
Yep, I saw that as well. So
yeah,
sure it is. Yeah. Sure it is. Are we also able to play all Xbox games day one on Game Pass? Is that also a thing?
On Game Pass Ultimate, yeah.
Well, on Game Pass Ultimate,
you have to be part of the premium program. Okay, you have to be.
That's not what they.
You can't be in the low cut.
I mean, I want to throw out there that I am a Game Pass subscriber. I have Game Pass Core, sure. I am a Game Pass subscriber, and I don't have access to any first-party titles with that subscription. Not day one, not even old ones.
Patreon now, you subscribe to the higher tier.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently, sure. But as far as the shine wearing off and being like, you know what, this isn't something I want to keep paying into. It was one thing to defend them when this was first starting, but to see it just continue, like, I'm sorry, but like for her to be like, oh yeah, hardware is the core of Xbox, it's just like, yeah, I don't know that I can really believe anything that they say. Sure. Like, I mean,
I understand that,
but like
that's
they
what
said
they're
other
saying
stuff
so far. So, and
I mean, that's what they're
committed
saying
to the next generation of hardware. So, I mean, like,
well, I mean, they committed to the hardware that they're already working on, and they've been working on.
Yeah. Well, that's like literally like that's 13 years out then, before they have to before we even see any like new hardware from them. So, I mean, like that means the next 13 years are accounted for in terms of Xbox hardware. I mean, that's
sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a ways out, but as things continue and they keep putting games, I mean, so we'll do another one. They said it was only certain games going to PlayStation. Stop freaking out. We're not going to, we're only putting these games on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it wasn't that.
Sure.
Right? Now it's other things too.
You're saying it from one angle, but I've seen it from PlayStation as well. It's not just on one side. We've seen a lot of PlayStation games.
No, I'm not saying it's one-sided, but I'm saying that when Microsoft's saying something doesn't necessarily really mean very much.
Sure, but like again, the 13 years is pretty much like that's set in stone right now. Like unless something goes terribly wrong with like the hardware, where like there's a recall or something. Like an Xbox Red Ring or something.
Red Ring.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I mean, like, short of that, like they've already invested the money and the time and the resources into building it, and it'll be like another at least 7 to 8, maybe 10 years until like new hardware would be usually coming around again. So I mean,
how many Game Pass price hikes is that in the next 10 years?
A good question,
probably like another 6.
But we also discussed how even
$30 to $80 a month.
Game Pass still is. It makes sense. I don't agree with like the drastic increase, of course, and I think they still need a value add to like from a PR perspective to get people back.
I want to add an addendum on that I said the price hike makes sense if you are just starting to do gaming now and you own no video games. Then Game Pass Ultimate really makes sense and it's a really good deal. But that if you have the mentality of buying your games, like this older mentality, like, buying movies versus just having a Disney Plus subscription, then the subscription does not have, I can see why that doesn't have value, or like people don't like it.
Until they start saying,
most of the Marvel movies,
until they start saying, okay, here, these games, just like all these streaming services, these games are only on Game Pass and you can't get them anywhere else. That's the only when that's the shift.
One of the things I suggested they do.
Yeah,
that is one of the things I suggested that they do. That now, like they'll start releasing Game Pass exclusive games.
Initially, I think Kojima's OD game was supposed to be that. I don't think it is anymore, but like I know that was the rumor, at least, was that Kojima's game was going to be like a Game Pass exclusive thing where it wasn't going to be available outside the subscription. Again, I don't think that's true anymore. It doesn't seem like it with the way that they're marketing it, but we'll see. But I mean, like, yeah.
But if they can get Game Pass onto other consoles, then there would be no reason to not do it too, because you can play Xbox Game Pass on your PlayStation or on your computer, and this is Xbox Game Pass exclusive, right? So, like, as long as you have that subscription, you could play it.
It could take over the market now, like any other streaming service and be everywhere, even PlayStation. You know, depending on how they. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but it could turn into something like that.
Back to the Steam machine. Overall,
I'm sorry, I have to do something like that.
Pretty good. The VRAM doesn't look like the best, but it looks pretty good. The one thing I don't like was I heard them say I really, really like the customizability of it. I think that both PlayStation and Xbox absolutely failed with their the ability to capitalize on customizability, especially when like they had like custom consoles.
Right, like back in the day.
Did utilize that a bit, or even like special
remember you could just change
this generation.
You could just change the faceplate of the 360. Remember?
Yeah, and like I really, really like that the fact that you can make the Steam machine like look like awesome. Like you can replace the faceplate, or like there's even people selling cases for it already because it's a block.
If you can make something like that, if you put something like that on anything, like make it a little bit more personalized, even like setting up your own profiles on all these things. But like, I'm really a big fan of that, because if you can like bring it on another layer, that adds an extra element of, oh, this is mine, you know? And I know I eat that up. I know you all are right there with me. And why not?
I mean, like, and the form factor of the Steam machine being like a little bit bigger than a console in width, and like or not console, controller in width, you know, like it's not a big box. It's not like a hefty big thing like the Xbox Series X is, you know? I think that lends itself to customizability as well in terms of like cases or like placement or whatever. Like that would be a thing that I would probably have sitting on like the top shelf of my like desk unit for my TV, you know, as opposed to like, you know, buried in the back or whatever where no one can see it.
Under a desk.
Yeah. like all my consoles are right now.
What's the rating, you know, as far as the durability of this thing? You know, it's nice and light, so it is. I'm just kind of curious. Have they stress test, like you drop it?
They haven't released a ton of stuff about it. I saw Linus Tech Tips has a video where he got to see it, and they like even took it apart and he was talking about it. Seemed pretty cool. But David, you want to continue? You were saying something bad. I'm waiting for you to say the thing you don't like.
I really, really like that, like SteamOS, honestly. Like they've put a lot of work into SteamOS and like big screen, where like it just works, right? It works in a way that even like the full screen experience on the ROG Xbox Ally doesn't yet, you know? Like, I mean, it's getting there. It's definitely an improvement over anything else Xbox has done UI wise, but like it's still not there just because like it's missing features that Xbox has. And like SteamOS is polished. It's been polished for a while. Like they continue to improve it, but like ultimately it's been around long enough that it just like delivers a really good experience. The one thing I don't like was I heard them talking about micro SD cards and how you could just install your game onto a micro SD card, and then just that's going to be your memory. And that's why there's only two size options, the 2 terabyte and the 512 gig, because they primarily want people to like utilize micro SD cards. That bothers me because micro SD cards don't work well with newer games. They don't. So, I mean, like the reliance on that for storage, and presumably why they have that 512 gig model, I don't know. That kind of concerns me because it doesn't look like there's any other real, like, it's not like you can open it up and put a like new, I mean, you probably could, but it would probably be a pain to like open it up and put a new like hard drive in there or something.
Actually, they did do that it looked like there were some expandable things, and it didn't seem too bad in the video that I saw. But yeah, it's not ideal for sure. But I will say this: the micro SD card thing makes sense to me as a Steam Deck user, because the micro SD card slot on the Steam machine and on the Steam Deck are very easily accessible. And so I would assume the idea is that you can just pop it out and pop it into your Steam Deck.
Right.
And probably you could just use
that would be convenient. Nice.
I have a ROG Ally that has a very accessible micro SD card slot too. But the problem is that modern games do not run well off it at all.
Interesting.
It's just not fast enough. So I mean, and micro SD cards just don't possess the necessary speeds for it to be able to do that well. That's why you have to have a very, very specific kind for the Switch too.
Right.
So I mean, and even that,
so it's more of you're gonna have to get whatever you use, you need to almost move it into the actual internal storage to actually be able to play it on. So that'd be time and a little bit more effort than just plug and play.
And that's the same deal as most of the other consoles, but I mean, when it comes down to it, Xbox has their proprietary card plug, which isn't the best price wise, but it works really well. And then PlayStation has an easily
I don't know anyone who has one except
I have one. You have one. And I'm just saying everything needs to go to M2s. M2 sticks, man. That's what we all need to do.
M2s would be nice, yeah. If they could M2s would be nice.
I mean, I don't know why they have all these M2 readers out there. I was looking at them the other day, just going through all the different specs and everything. And if they just put them in a stick form, I mean, it would be great. It'd be perfect. Of course, I guess the only downside would be figuring out how to internalize. M2s usually are straight into the motherboard versus an external source. You're actually having to route through the cabling.
That would be my concern is the connection. Yeah. But I mean, I think you could probably make that work still if you had I don't know, I'm not sure. I would imagine
that's a good point,
a USB-C nice connector might be okay for that. Maybe. That might be fast enough.
Yep.
I don't know why this thing also has 2 USB 2 slots either.
USB 2.
I feel like USB 2 at this point is
it has
backward a bit.
It has 2 USB 2 on the back.
But
the faster ports are on the front, and then it has 2 USB 2 on the back.
I'm right there with you. I think it needs to be 3 and up at least, if not 4. I mean, just about everything I'm running or going forward is 4. I mean, as far as I know, yeah.
Which the front ones are 4. The front ones are 4.
No, they're 3.
Oh, are they 3? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're 3. Which is fine. I mean, the 3 is where most of the world is right now. But yeah.
So, D, how much would you pay for something like this?
Well, and that's the other thing too. We don't know the price yet. This, man, I don't know. The new Xbox is also rumored to be really expensive, so we'll see. But this is probably going to be pretty expensive. Looking at the specs and everything, and if it also can deal with actual good VR, which is what they're advertising with the Steam Frame, I would imagine this doesn't go for less than at least 1,000, probably closer to 1,500.
Okay, so you're thinking it's going to be 1,500. You want to lock that in?
I would say 1,200 plus. Sure.
1,200 plus. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer in line with console. So I'm thinking 1,000 or less. 1,000 or less.
Depends. What all are you getting?
A difference of 200. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. I don't know what all you're getting. I'm not sure.
That would be primarily with the Steam machine and the Steam controller. Primarily, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steam machine that makes, and they have this extra feature.
I don't know why you would buy one without. I mean, I guess you could just use a regular controller and connect to Bluetooth. But...
You could use a regular controller. You could use a mouse and keyboard. Yeah. You can use all kinds of stuff.
All the normal
On the
stuff,
flip side, going around, I totally disagree with D, and I think that it is a huge death nail for Xbox. That, I mean, I'm already just 100% on board. I feel like Xbox has only disappointed me for the last 2 years. probably even longer than that. But like basically everything, every big move they've made or direction they've gone in has been pretty disappointing. And I just feel myself less and less connecting with the brand and the company, just period. Right?
I mean,
Not a lot of
to be
goodwill.
fair, I feel the same way. I wouldn't disagree with you on that, but I
not
do
a lot of
think that
goodwill.
like
And so to have
they,
an opportunity to just like, so I already have Steam games, right? Farm, that's the other
Yeah,
thing.
you've
It's
already
not
you've already kind of positioned
100%
yourself
Switch,
into like selling for
right?
another ship, if you will.
It's not 100% Switch, and I don't have a PC, right? So I'm like, man, that
Yeah,
interconnectivity
it's your
of
middle
like,
ground. It's your
you
push
know,
for something that's not quite PC,
switching
but something like
switching games, and I can just play this other game, you know, on my Steam Deck, and then my cloud save is going to carry over, and I can play it on the TV.
well,
That
let's be
sounds
honest.
awesome.
What you're really saying is this is the way I can play games on quote unquote PC games without having a real PC. Stay true as an Apple fanboy.
Well, there's
I would
that. No,
argue,
but there's actually more.
sure,
There's
but I
more
would
to it
argue
than
this
that.
is a real PC.
that
Essentially.
too.
Yeah, no, it is a real.
Yeah,
No, I
true,
would agree
true enough.
too. I would say there's a little bit more to it. Is that I don't have a PC. It's that it's targeting console players who don't really want to deal with PC stuff, because that's where I'm at. I don't listen. You just had the whole beginning of this podcast was you talking about how you're having to test every single part of your PC and how it's still broken. Like that does not sound like a good time to me, you know, as a Mac user or a console
Yeah,
user.
but
And even with the Steam Deck, there have been times that even using that, I'm like, man, this is like way more into fiddling and nuts and bolts than I want to get into, right? But
you
to
either
have
love
the
it or you hate it. But
carryover,
I mean, telling the truth, there's been some hateful moments. But I would never sell
right?
my soul to Apple.
You know, some people just want to struggle. You know, that's
Now,
all. Some people just they feel like
No,
that
some people
struggling
want to
gives
be in
their life
control, and other
meaning.
people
You
want
know,
to just not be in control and let
the
Apple. Yeah,
illusion
they with
of
the illusion
control.
of control and just like do everything for me, back up everything for me. I'm okay.
Hold on. Some people have had a working PC for the last month, and some people haven't, and they're not sure why.
it's true.
But
Yeah,
I'll digress. I'll digress on that.
yeah.
The but what David brought up about the micro SD card in newer games not playing well on it, this is a good point, because right now on my Steam Deck, I'm not pushing games that hard, and I'm specifically installing like smaller games and stuff like that onto it, right? Games that I would play on a handheld. And then the newer, harder to run games, I will run them on the Xbox, and I'll install them on the Xbox, right? Because that just makes sense. So that is a good point. I will be interested to see, and I don't know, maybe experience. We'll see if I get one,
too,
how it
I
runs.
tried the reason why I'm specifically like a little bit bullish on that is because I tried like probably about like 6 or 7 different micro SD cards on my ROG Ally to see if any of them would run like modern games well, and they didn't. So I ended up
What do you
having to
mean by
spend
modern games is my first question. I have a question on that. What do you
like
how new are we talking
like
modern?
anything within like the last like 3 years that's like 60 gigs or more.
Anything that's requiring that
Can
high
you give
speed
an actual
so
can you give an actual game example? I would
Ark was
just for my own
unplayable.
reference.
Halo Infinite was wouldn't even launch. Hang on, let me look at my Steam library here.
Probably Final Fantasy, the newest one. You know, anything like that.
Well, I didn't even try.
Yeah,
that,
anything that's within the last few years that's required.
Elite Dangerous was
Wow, Elite
unplayable.
Dangerous. That's actually kind of surprising.
World of Warcraft worked, but like World of Warcraft, I feel like kind of like targets.
You can run World of Warcraft on like a
I'm
smart
just like,
Diablo 4 wouldn't launch.
I can see that.
I don't think I even tried Helldivers 2.
Okay, so I need to. God, I don't want to run upstairs and get my Steam Deck because I have played games off of my micro SD card, and I found them to be playable.
Question, D. What class were these SDs? Were they like?
I tried like 5 or 6.
Like they were 10 class.
So like,
or I can't remember what the new highest is.
One of them was the same class as the one that's in my Switch 2 right now.
Gotcha.
which is like supposedly like the best class or whatever.
Last
I'll
time
have
I
to look
checked, it
it
was
up or
10
whatever.
was the best
But
class,
like,
but I mean, things are always changing. So
yeah, but like they were various different kinds. And then I ended up I spent like probably about like $150 on micro SD cards, and then I finally just buckled down and bought a new internal NVMe like SSD, and then I went through the hassle of like switching that out instead, which was pricey, but like it worked well.
Anecdotally, I have played some newer games. Maybe they're not as new. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look. Installed on my micro SD card on my Steam Deck, and I have not had problems. That being said, those newer games that I've played installed on the Steam Deck versus on the memory itself, or like on the deck itself, excuse me, installed on the micro SD card versus on the deck, they were all like certified for Steam Deck on Steam, right? Like the green all the way across kind of a deal.
I don't know. That might make a difference.
So I don't know exactly. I would
games
test
that
it. I'll
works
test it this week.
relatively okay. Like Baldur's Gate 3 worked once I turned down the settings off it just the loading took a while, but otherwise.
So I'm a little bit behind on SD card ratings, but apparently V90 is what you need to be looking for. I don't know if that's what you have or anything like that, but that should do like 4K video recording and things like that. So I don't know if that's what you had, but it'd be interested. I don't know.
SD cards or micro SD cards, because those are two different things too.
I believe this is just regular SD card, but
yeah, and to be fair to D, I also though I bought a cheap micro SD card, and it like crapped out on me, and I wasn't able to use it, and I had to spend like another like $150 or whatever, and get like a high speed better one, like more specific for that. And since I've done that one, it's been fine. I've had no issues.
Well, and like that, basically what I have now is I have a bunch of like my lighter games on the micro SD card because like they all work relatively fine. It's not a big deal. And then like all my like bigger, like more heavy games on like my SSD. And so I'm satisfied with like how that worked out. And like they do have the 2 terabyte Steam machine, right?
But let's be fair, 2 terabytes these days isn't what it used to be. 2 terabytes, you go by so quickly.
But
but I mean, my Xbox is just 1 terabyte. So
yeah, but
there is that too.
You're saying all this about Xbox, but you're a person who doesn't use their Xbox very much apparently. So like what? I can't.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Farm? I play my Xbox every day nowadays.
Well,
I play my Xbox more than you do. You haven't been online.
That being said, you're the guy who's talking about going away from it. So how can I trust your perspective?
I mean, I would say you could trust my perspective more than the head of Microsoft, who is promising to do stuff when they've been lying all this year about everything else.
But I'm interested about Steam though on their SDs.
When they already have the money invested, like I mean, I don't know. I kind of trust that more. But like also the thing that I'm a huge fan of with this Steam machine, as opposed to like the old one, was like the main reason that Steam machine failed before was because they essentially just had third-party hardware vendors.
Right.
Like
hey, let's throw this thing together.
And like the Windows Phone problem, right?
Yeah.
Like of like like you have all these bad or like lesser inferior products shipping with Steam OS or whatever, and it's like
that's what makes me think about I'm surely Steam, Valve has already thought about this problem. I'm wondering if they're actually going to have their own line of like these SDs, like high speed, on a different level, maybe not having that problem at all. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, and it's possible too that like, hey, maybe they're aware of like the new iteration of like micro SD cards that like will actually like be like easily like runnable. But I know that even when I was trying to find one for my Switch 2, like they wanted very, very specific ones, and those ones were very difficult to find when it came down to it. It's just
it may be something similar, but that's my question with Microsoft. So let's take a step back here. So do you think Microsoft has been aware of this device?
Yes.
And that's part of their reshuffling around
or whatever
in their pivot,
I think so.
and to get stuff on stuff, because it's like,
you know
what?
Let's to like make a PC Xbox or whatever. Yeah, I think that makes sense in terms of like what they were going for. I also think that's why they were so eager to partner with ROG and drop their first party for a little bit.
Mhm.
Like, because like they wanted something out like right now, you
Yeah.
know, to kind of
Yeah.
like at least test the waters of like getting some of that in the hands of the public and like trying to make it work, like so that they are fully ready for like when they actually release their own hardware in a couple years.
Well, and to
But
go back on Xbox hardware and me wanting to get off of it, me ready to move away from it. This is, in the end, this is it. And it's hard because this is the argument people make, is that I could get the next Xbox, or I could get this Steam machine and I can play Xbox and PlayStation games versus getting everything, right? I mean, but then again, we'll see. We'll see if that's another very big thing, is we'll see with Steam releasing this, is the market going to change, and are these companies going to not play ball as well with Steam? Like, is Sony going to not want to do that? They already had a big enough time, or a hard enough time, like putting their games out
I
on
think there's
PC,
definitely going to be
period,
change in the
right?
landscape,
then
but you
also
got Xbox.
the next Xbox will have Steam on
and
it,
that's
which is
exactly to my
too.
point. I think we're going to see Xbox shift. I think the next Xbox, we'll just have to wait and see. But I would love to see it doing something and they've already announced a little bit about it being more like a PC as well. You're probably going to be more like, kind of like a Steam Deck, a Steam machine on this new Xbox, where you're going to be able to do, things like that. I would think that's the next step, really. Because, you think about from all the way back from the earliest Xbox or even earliest PlayStation, it was always you boot into the game, and it's like slowly changed our whole ecosystem when they finally had this whole dashboard. And then we're like, wait, where's the game? I remember this when we first, like back to Sega, Nintendo and Sega, you always go straight into the game. And then there's this whole other layer of overlays and intros, and this whole other software where, why do I need to go to this menu? And then it slowly shaped us to be like,
Yep.
oh, well, this is actually really nice, and now I can't go back. I think we're kind of at another pivot. We're at a pivot where, okay, we're not just going to be a console anymore. We're going to be almost everything, more like a PC, more like,
problem,
be able to hit a bunch of different of these markets, more check boxes, and being able to be more functional as more like a PC, where you can be more customizable.
The problem is that when you're chasing someone else, like, it's really difficult to like do your own thing, right? Like, it's really difficult to innovate. It's really difficult to like put your own twist on things and like stand out.
Well, I'm not saying that they're
It's
chasing.
just like you're essentially like, they
you think
are,
they are?
though. Like, like that's the thing. There's
They're
no way
totally,
that this
well,
Steam
you say that,
machine,
but
which is coming out
Xbox
first quarter of next year, there's no way that they didn't know about this. Like when they introduced their plans for the next
right,
Xbox.
but you say that
there's no way
Microsoft
they
has
know
been
this.
PC for as long as you can think. So it's sure you could say that they're chasing it, but this could have been in the works for a long time.
Okay. Can I say something? Can I say something that's actually, I think, kind of a weirdly hot take? I think that personal computing, like PCs, David, did we talk about this? Is kind of a thing of the past.
Oh yeah, we did.
My
talk about
son
this, yeah.
has never used a computer. Like, he totally uses mobile devices and all that stuff. When Chiho moved in with us, she was writing papers for university on her phone. She hates using her computer. She has a computer. She hates using it. And she, like, other than business and such, like, and then like gaming, like people who play video games, like computers, like in people's just lives, is really a thing of the past. Like that, like, the home computer and
Yeah,
all that
because
stuff.
everybody can access
Most people
of their
just
stuff from their phone.
exactly just use their phones or use some other kind of tablet or mobile device. And with Microsoft, as far as like it being that, with Microsoft, I think it's a little bit easier. But one of the conversations I had with someone about like iPads and like, why aren't iPads more like computers, right? It's strong enough to be a computer. Why isn't it? And it's like, because Apple has a whole line of computers that they want you to buy. They can't make a device that competes with their own device, right? Now they're just going to lose money.
Right.
Like, is the Xbox console going to be more like a computer, but then it would compete with other Microsoft products?
True. That is
yeah.
that's
I mean,
a thing.
that's the question. Now, the way that I've seen people approaching the ROG Xbox Ally is that essentially, those who expect it to be more like a PC have been unhappy with it. Those who expect it to be more like an Xbox actually have been very happy with it. So I almost wonder if maybe the new Xbox kind of like essentially starts in from the console end of things, whereas the Steam Machine is clearly going from the PC end of things to like this weird like convalescence, of like what is a console versus like what is a PC,
Yeah,
like
I see.
but like I do wonder how close they can get before they do kind of like directly kind of like I think it already probably is happening where they're directly competing.
There's definitely going to be some bridging of this gap, between what is console versus PC, finding that middle ground that it works. But you're still not going to ever have that high end from this. No, no way, no way.
No, from the Steam Deck,
but you
not
will
Steam Deck,
have
Steam
a
Machine, no.
targeted
Right. Just like
shoot
just
for
like you
as
do for
devs or
Xbox,
whatever. I mean, like,
which is nice.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this plenty of times. Like it's nice to have like this. This was built to run these games on these specs, and it works just about every time. Versus you build a new machine, it's a bazillion and one chance that it could work right the same way because everyone's different. You use different RAM, you use different CPUs, you use different motherboards, and you combine them differently. And it's just like it wasn't you spec'd it out yourself. You're gonna have some things, but that's just part of it. Versus it's nice to have things that run.
That's why I wonder though if the Steam Machine is going to be priced lower, because basically it's a pre-built, right? It's a pre-built gaming computer that in the end, like technically speaking, but it's in my mind, if we're going to talk about who is this for, it's for me.
Right. Yeah. It's not for the high-end gamers.
The console player who doesn't have a PC. Yeah. It's not for the high-end PC gamers who already have way better rigs than this, right? It's not for those people. It's for someone who has a Steam Deck like me who wants extra power to play some of the newer games, right? Instead of the Steam Deck 2, let's get a Steam Machine. And then they can just stream from the Steam Machine to their Steam Deck.
And the Steam Machine's kind of like that nice little middle ground. It's kind of a console, but it's also going to be nice and portable. I think it kind of fits a lot of that right there. So they're
the thing about pre-builds is that they do tend to be pricier though too because they are pre-builds. So I mean, like I don't know. I could see the price going kind of either way. It'll be
they're not
because they have to announce it soon. I wouldn't be surprised actually if they announced it at Game Awards. Like the pricing.
Do you think the pre-build?
That's December 11th. Like it's right around the corner.
Well, it's a pre-build, but it's also they're also making them all this same exact way. Don't you think that will bring it down? I would think that they would try to bring it down because they're like, we've got this many units built exactly the same way. I don't know. I don't see. I can't. Yeah, I can't see it being more. I don't know. It could,
but like I mean, like I don't know, like
$800. I wouldn't
like the.
I don't know if I'd buy it. I don't know.
3, which was like a very specific like micro PC or whatever. Not even a micro PC, but like a, I don't know, like a, I forget what they called it, like a compact PC, where it was supposed to be the console killer or whatever, and like that thing was more expensive than if you like built a PC with the same like stats.
Right. Yeah.
Like I mean,
I guess it comes down to, are they, what's their target? Who's their target?
The Steam Deck OLED with 1 terabyte is $650, and so obviously it's probably going to be more than that.
I mean, if you think about it from that perspective, I'd say $300-400 at least extra on the top of that. So that would
that's going to get us to about 1,000. So the real question to me is: it going to be under 1,000 or over 1,000?
Right.
I think it's be at that sweet $999.
One then the question too is like when we do find out the price for the Xbox, which will be like we probably won't find out until the end of next year, probably. like what will that be priced at too in comparison? I think Xbox will be watching this very closely
Mhm.
to decide like what to price their thing at. I don't know whether that'll help or hurt them though too.
We're in interesting
And
times, that's for sure. Interesting times.
oh, for sure. And not to be super down on Xbox, but I guess looking forward, David has a hopeful feeling that,
Optimistic, I would
midway
say.
next cycle, optimistic of that,
Sure.
like it'll settle down. But you know what? Sega used to make consoles too, right, Farm?
I mean, that's true.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And now they just
I
make
would go.
games,
I would go even
and
further to say that they were more revolutionary in some of their first like later consoles, like Dreamcast, more than anybody else. But they
I
were
love the Dreamcast.
too soon. They were too soon.
And Microsoft is the youngest dog in the game between Microsoft, Nintendo, and PlayStation. And, maybe to me, it would seem that Microsoft is making moves to not totally go away. I mean, obviously, but those kinds of things take time too,
That's true
I
too.
would say in the next cycle, right? We'll say we could have easily seen it and now we're speculating, right? Are they going to keep going? Is it going to change? Or was this the beginning of the end? Right? 10 years from now, we'll be like, oh, clearly it was just a hiccup and they were going to keep going. Or we're going to be like, yeah, clearly that was the beginning of the
There,
end. Right? Like
Right.
it's just one of those kind of things.
the next iteration here will be they're gonna take one from Apple and it's just gonna be a monitor. It's not gonna be any more than just a monitor, and you turn it on and it's a gaming machine. Yep.
Well, Microsoft has just been unlucky in that they've made multiple bad moves in a row.
Well,
right?
Those moves though, like there's a reason behind them though too. Like I mean, like
Right.
so, like the Xbox, like not even the Xbox, the Microsoft financial officer, like put apparently Bloomberg came out with this report a couple of months ago, put like a mandate on them to like deliver a 30% profit margin, which is like 10% higher than like what it normally is anywhere else in the industry. Like that's a pretty ridiculous like thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
like,
and
and like they
on
also
the
like
flip side,
Microsoft wants all that money for AI right now too. I
uh,
figured by the time that we figure out like whether Microsoft's investing in a new console, like AI will have been decided one way or the other. That's where my optimism comes from. I mean, like, we'll see, but like, yeah,
on the flip
without that
side, I would say that
pull,
PlayStation's good moves, like how like Microsoft's had bad luck, I would say a lot of it attributes to good luck for PlayStation, more so than like incredible decisions that they've made. Of that they've been in favor with people and made a couple of decisions that it was a snowball effect, right? Like I don't want to make it seem like Microsoft just made bad choices, right?
Well,
Like,
I don't know.
it just turned out to
It's
be that
easy
way.
to point the finger right now at Xbox, but I mean, Sony's made their fair share of mistakes within the last year. Really, they really have.
Oh, of
well,
course.
specifically, like PlayStation was supposed to be all about like these incredible like single player exclusives, and then they switched to multiplayer, and they failed like
They
three
haven't
times in a row.
and then they
Like I
haven't
mean,
had
like
any
Yeah,
it's
forever.
like,
and we it's easy to sweep those
But
under the rug because we when you're
but
passionate about
PlayStation
a
has
certain company more than the other, it's easy to be like, ah, come on, why aren't you pulling the way that we're expecting you to pull?
right. Well, that and again, PlayStation has a lot of people that are willing to give them goodwill over these things, right? Oh, this was just
yeah,
a mistake.
that's true.
And
Yeah.
honestly, that's where I'm at with Valve too. I'm very willing to give them goodwill and like I as a company just in general. And to go back to me just being like I'm done with Microsoft, a big part of that is I've been giving them goodwill, right? A
Well,
lot, and I've not been satisfied. I've not been satisfied
what's been
with how
frustrating
things
about
have
the
gone.
Microsoft thing, though, too, is that they finally did fix like their biggest flaw, which was games. But then they came up with like all these other like drawbacks, you know? Like, I mean, like
Right.
they're finally in the area where like they're having a lot of good games come out and exclusives and Game Pass like additions and all of that, right? Like, I mean, like they're good on the games front in an era where PlayStation isn't really right now,
Right.
you know? And like, I mean, like that's incredible. That's something that like we've been waiting for like over a decade for, right? For Xbox to get like on that to like actually have like a consistent and like quality release schedule of like good games coming out. And they're finally there, but then like there's all these other factors that come into play naturally
Well,
right when that
yeah.
happens. And it's like, yeah, okay, well.
And the landscape's totally different now.
And the landscape has
right?
changed
When
a
we
lot,
wanted
yeah.
them to release all of these good games, we could all play these games. Well, now we have too many games. We have too many games
Right.
coming out. We
Yeah,
can't play
that's
any of
very
these
true.
games.
Yeah. And we're also seeing like studios like the Claire Obscure studio, Sandfall, like come out with like, you know, these double A studios or whatever. Like, no offense to them, like these indie studios, let's say, that are coming out with like triple A games that are incredible, you know,
And
and
the
suck up a
quadruple A
lot of
games
time and
are
everything. And like,
so
so
bad.
you're not just competing against like the other triple A developers anymore. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
there's
competing
more
against
tools
everybody
and
now.
things out there to
Oh,
kind of bring up the competition for, like you said, the double A studios to have. I mean, yeah, Claire Obscure, blown away. Like, it's crazy. You would think it could be, you know, like a first party title for any studio, and it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's changing out there. It's changing
and
out there.
correct me if I'm wrong, D, but at one point, wasn't it something like for PS5s that it was? This is going to sound crazy, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it something like they were selling 10-1 PS5s to Xboxes? Isn't that the global
over the
metric?
course of like a very specific time period, yes, it was like 10-1.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But I mean,
even
like,
just for a
yeah.
specific time period, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's
For
not
Right,
sure.
but
just that. It's that, like, yeah,
it's
Microsoft
a
has these
different
great games,
demographic, though.
but
That's the thing. So
it's
if you were,
they
they
need
were
more
calculating
market share.
everything
Well,
everywhere, from what I gathered from that, which, you know, you say what you will, but they're already, you know, what they already have that group over there, you know, in their back pocket. No, why would you go do something else from America if you got, you know, Sony right there in your front door? So, I mean, that's
Right, but Sony also, I mean, Sony's big not just in Japan, it's like all over the
yeah,
world,
but
right? Not
that
just
that 10 to
like
1 was, in my opinion, a skewed number.
I mean, I think the hard part is that it's not skewed though because Xbox does sell in those places, right? So while Sony has a bigger market share and while, sure there's that, but then globally like those numbers really matter too, right? Like, oh, like we can improve here and improve here and it's those well, I don't know that it's those numbers. It's hard when you have really good games, but there's not a lot of people playing them, I guess is what it comes
sure.
down to. Like they focused hard
But I
on the
mean,
games, but in the sales themselves, like there's just literally less Xboxes out there.
I would agree with that. I think that part of it too, though, was them like pushing the like play anywhere and stuff and like putting their games day and date on PC and all of that. I think that kind of like leaned towards that. I also wonder how many people like played their games on cloud because like I mean in July, at the end of July, they announced that Game Pass had hit almost $5 billion in revenue over the last fiscal year with 500
Which is pretty
million
crazy.
active users, which is insane. Like that's I think that far eclipses whatever PlayStation has been doing with the PlayStation Plus program. Like I mean like so people like have the service at least, or they did before the price hike anyway.
Right.
Well,
I
and
mean like
for
Well, I
the
guess
for the small percentage that, you know, never unsubscribed or whatever, you know, they're still making it. They probably made up because, you know, like any
uh,
subscription services, if you don't pay attention, they'll just keep like a leech, you know, just keep pulling it from you.
yeah, that's one of the things I didn't like about the price hike though, is I'm like, how many people are paying like 50% more than they agreed to because they just changed it,
right.
And then
That
they're like, oh,
yeah,
hey,
On
and this
this
is
it's gonna
every
happen to
and
anybody.
granted
It's gonna
like
happen to
effective
anybody.
the
now,
problem is
effective
like
immediately.
you don't win either way, right? Because like if you do it the other way, then people just stack up or whatever if they have time to, you know. Like PlayStation did that where they announced new pricing and like people like stacked up for like years, right? And the
Right.
last time that Xbox had a price hike, they also announced it in advance and people stacked up for years. And I mean,
Right.
I'm sure that that affects their plans, but also
Well,
like
but
I mean at some point Microsoft just needs to like stop like stripping them down for parts to like fund their other
right.
initiatives. Like when it comes down to it, don't mess with something
Yeah,
that
I totally
works.
agree
I
with
feel
that
like is
because
like this
I
the
definitely
biggest.
see that in this whole like back and forth. It's like they let Xbox do what it needs to do, you know. And I mean, we see it. We see Microsoft pulling all these strings, and it's really hurting Xbox at up to. I mean, a lot of these decisions that they've had to make again with like studios and things that that they're going forward with. They have this huge plans, all these big plans that they've had to like. Okay, we have a forecast now. We have to do this, and it's good to have goals. Don't get me wrong. I get it from a business standpoint, but it's so hard when you have somebody else like
75 games day one for Xbox, like Game Pass. That's insane. That's a wild goal. That's a crazy ambitious goal.
Yeah.
But like, does anyone want that? Did anyone ask for that? Like, I mean,
well, yeah, and you need to.
That's more. We talked about it. That's more than one game a week. That's more than one new game a week.
And if your projections, like, you got to meet what's relevant. You can't just shoot in the water. I mean, you can, but it's not gonna be pretty.
And really quick, going back on Game Pass and people playing on cloud and all of that stuff, like this is kind of one of those weird moments, though, that I feel like Microsoft developed all of that. I feel like I would be interested to know, did they develop all of that because people weren't buying their consoles? And so they, pushing it to PC day one and doing that to try to boost those numbers, which it's been, I would say, a net win for gamers. Just period. Like to, encourage building out cloud gaming and all of that stuff. But was that focus like we wanted to do this, or was it what are other ways we can continue to expand this revenue stream because console prices are down?
Well, like,
how do we get more people involved? Right.
I think that, well, and again, like, I think part of the problem with like Xbox Series growth is like how bad the Xbox One did.
Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
I mean, like, that was like mostly like messaging more than anything else that I feel like that really impacted that, because the 360 did pretty good overall.
Right.
But like,
well, and just branding, like there a lot of those things. But yeah, messaging, branding, like PlayStation's got this easy numbered system. Xbox, it's always got to be a little more complicated. But going back to talking about Xbox struggling and how it's affecting Xbox, for reference for the people listening, I was a PlayStation user and I switched over at the 360 era. I have been an Xbox user. I don't own, these guys defending Xbox, they own PlayStations. I want to throw that out there.
That's true.
They own PlayStations to play them. I have not touched a PlayStation controller since December 17th, 2009. That's the last time. That's when I got my Xbox. I'm not even, so like talking about I want to leave and you can't trust me. I mean, these guys literally have PlayStation 5s in the rooms they're sitting in right now. Like, and I'm like talking about
how
it
you're using
hurting.
this as your catalyst.
I feel it, like it hurting it, and it's made me want to look elsewhere. Hey, we'll see. If Steam.
I've got a hot take.
If the Steam machine is really well priced, I might get it. And if I get it, I may skip the next Xbox generation.
Which I think is fair. I mean, when it comes down to it, I do.
Or Xbox first party handheld is going to be so good that I'm going to get that and I'm going to stick with Xbox. This is like, because I want that synergy, right? Of like, I've got a handheld that I like to play on, and I have a home console I like to play on. Whichever one of these products is going to get that right, that's going to be the one that I end up sticking with.
But we have a Switch too, and all that. I don't know.
Freaking brilliant in releasing.
Well, see, that's the other
thing. You got
thing.
Switch 2, you got phones, you got tablets. Like, that's the thing. It's like there's competition for all these things. That's the thing for me. It's like, where am I going to find the mix that any of these work? Where I am currently as my change, as my life change and evolves, because we're not always going to be, especially with our kids and everything, we're not always going to be in the same spot we were like a year or two ago, So that's the biggest thing. Is like, how does this work for where I'm at or where I'm going to be at?
And you got to get a Steam Deck farm. You'll love it. I say that, but you work from home, so maybe it won't really matter. Actually,
tell you the truth, if I didn't have all this stuff, as far as like all this weight on my shoulders, I love every moment of working on my PC, and I would build a new one today if I had all the parts. I love that kind of stuff.
Here's the thing too, though, also that we haven't really mentioned is like, I mean, like Johnny alluded to it a little bit. Um, will PC users feel inclined to get this? Because like they already have a PC that might be better
I
specs than
doubt
this.
it.
I mean, like,
I
yeah.
doubt it. It's
Why
got to
would
be
you?
trying
Why
to
would you
pull
go
console people,
subpar? I
right?
just can't see it. I can't see them going on and getting
Exactly.
like, oh wow, these
Exactly.
frame rates are killing me. You know, just stuff like that. You know, they get really
Like,
petty
there's no way.
about all
There's
that
no
stuff.
way. Yeah, there's no way. It's got to be. I don't want to use the term console killer, right? Because like that's just overblown and overused. But it's clearly aimed at console users, right?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be marketed that way. And I think it will be at stores like that. You know, I
But I do feel like Steam kind of has that branding where like I don't know, as a like I don't necessarily know that console users feel gravitated to the brand of Steam that like PC
right. But
users do,
if you start seeing
you know?
Steam
So I
or
am
something
curious.
at
Yeah,
the market, you know, if you go to shop, if you don't shop online, which is another shift in the
right.
whole paradigm of everything. But like if you see maybe if you see a Steam deck or Steam machine out, you know, advertised, and then there's the games and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, then the kids see it and this, that, and the other, or if it's on, you know, an ad somewhere. I guess that's more relative these days. An ad on your Xbox or your ad on your streaming device or whatever.
Oh my god, how brutal would it be to have the ad
Yeah.
on like an Xbox and
I
on
thought
like
about
a
that after I
PlayStation?
said it.
Hey, I
But
could see
no,
it.
I don't. I
could
think
actually see
Microsoft
it.
would push for that. I'm seeing, you know, these little these ads on Xbox, and I'm like,
The
yeah,
pop-ups.
these little
Yeah.
things, and I'm like, I saw
Okay, let's
Walmart
talk about that.
yesterday, and I'm just saying, it's about the money at some point for these guys because they're just paying for that slot.
I turned on my Xbox and I got a full page from
Yeah, the full page
startup,
ones are annoying.
a
Yeah.
full page ad for Game Pass Ultimate because I'm on Core. And like I had to
Well,
be out of the like I couldn't
It'll
even
be
go to
for
my
it's for
go to the
anybody.
dashboard.
It wasn't it's for everybody. That's the stupid thing. Is that it's not even targeted. It's like literally like
Yeah,
they're just
I
forcing
got
it on
it too. It's like,
everybody.
oh yeah, you're already there.
I have
Okay.
Ultimate still, and then I still got it.
It
It's
was
like,
pretty much
okay,
like an
well,
acceptance, like, oh, you're part of the true Xbox Pass
I was so
following.
mad. I was so mad when that happened. But also, there is kind of a flip on this, and I would say this comes with a lot of the goodwill that Steam has with people. Of Xbox is pushing for a streaming service type future, right? Where you pay
sure.
them every month and you have access to more games than you could ever play. Steam
Yeah,
is
I agree with that.
is pushing more for a I don't want to say ownership because, you know, like technically you are still licensing the game, but you buy your game and then it's your game.
Right.
Right. And we do these crazy sales. You know, excuse me, it will be the only quote, I'm doing air quotes, a visual bit here. It will be the only console that doesn't charge for online play
True,
for its
actually.
services.
Yeah. My Nintendo, I completely forgot about it. But my Nintendo thing just hit,
Just
like
hit,
literally
yeah.
earlier today.
And the
And I was
Nintendo
like,
one,
oh
it's
yeah,
like
that's
so
right. I'm paying
cheap.
$70 a year for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so cheap, it's not a big deal, but it'll be the only console that you can play online for free. I mean, as a parent, that's kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Although
And so,
technically
I would
still a
be
PC
shocked
though.
if I think I do think Xbox
right.
will get rid
Well,
of
I'm
that
saying
with the next
console with
console.
my things because they're very much marketing it as a console, right? It's a
Yeah.
console kind of a deal.
It's as much of console
the
as
marketing, in my
Steam,
opinion,
you know, could be with, you know, all the things that they have.
as a
Yeah.
Steam Deck. They're marketing it like a console, and then at the end they're like, but also it's a PC, so you can use it like a PC, and then
Right.
that's the end of like the commercial, right? And it's like, oh, okay.
That reminds me of like Windows 8, you know, where it's like, oh, let's make it all appy. You know, let's make let's make
Right.
everything in tiles, and you got the tablet mode. And while that
For Windows Phone,
yeah,
it
for
was
Windows
great,
Phone,
okay?
but
For
oh my
larger
goodness,
screens, yeah,
it
okay,
was.
stupid. But like,
But at the
Windows
time,
Phone,
that's what they were trying to do, and it was kind of like this whole thing. But now Steam's doing it, and I'm interested to see how it works out because it seems like it works for Steam Deck.
I will say
you
this.
know?
It works on the Steam Deck, and you can boot up in desktop mode. But the Steam OS, when you boot it up in that mode, it just feels like an Xbox. It feels like a console,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's like the skin of it. But my mom had a Windows 8 machine, and I was already on Mac at the time, and she was having some problem, and she's like, "Here, can you help me fix it?" And I'm like, I don't think so." And I just like I remember looking at it with all of those boxes and stuff, and my brain like broke down. I was like, I don't even know what this is. I don't know what I'm looking at. No, I can't help.
Windows
Sorry,
8 was a struggle. Like I hated it because everything that you,
which is crazy because Windows 7 was actually
Windows
good,
10,
like relatively,
and Windows 11 hasn't been too bad either. But yeah, Windows 8 just wanted you to go somewhere you should have never gone on the PC. And trying to find things like things that I have grown up and know where everything is, and then just like, let's reorganize it. It's like when you go to the grocery store and then they swapped everything just because they want you to go throughout their whole store. That's exactly how it felt.
Yeah. But I want to go back because, we're going like it's over an hour at this point. So we need to wrap up. But I want to go back and say, I know that I said that I'm ready to leave Xbox and all that stuff, and that Xbox is clearly done and all that. I would love to be wrong about that. I want to throw that out there. I'm saying all of that, but I would love for that to not be true. I would love for that to not be true.
That we won't know for like so long, I think, is the problem. Like that, like I mean, like I don't like that aspect of it. Like I mean, like if we like knew sooner that Xbox was just gonna get out of hardware, like I'd prefer to like know like. I'd prefer for them to say something earlier as opposed to later.
They can't say something. They can't say something because they've already invested all this money into this next console, and they need people to buy it.
Yeah, but like if they came out and like their final like their trailer for like the next console was final console or something, I would appreciate.
I would,
but they won't do it. Would people? I would appreciate it.
But would people buy it other than to be a collector's item? Right, because it's like it's the anthem of like, right? It's
maybe like that would actually increase sales of it, though. With how their console sales have been like lately.
What I really want is getting away from some of these more like, I don't know, like even these monitors or like just like go away and go. I really want to see something a little bit more sci-fi, like almost like Halo or Star Trek-y, where it's just like we get into the console and it's almost like not quite virtual reality, but it's like it's more like projection. It's like you're projecting. You have this projector that I don't know, like we see holograms, that sort of thing. That would be amazing to just like have some kind of like holo like you have on Star Wars, where it just projects, and you just have this projector like thing. It is your console, and now it's a whole different thing, obviously. But that's like me dreaming, That's where maybe one of these days we'll be at. I don't know.
I would love to see some kind of innovation, but it's hard for me to imagine a company doing it other than Nintendo in the gaming space.
And I don't think Nintendo has any interest in doing it either.
At least not for another generation.
Because they missed out on so much with the Switch, even though they did really, really well with it. They could have potentially maybe possibly done better, I think is like kind of what they're thinking internally. So, I think that's the only way that like the Switch 2 makes sense in terms of like what it is, hardware specs and price up and everything. But also like Switch 2 killing in sales still, So
I still can't buy one. Yeah. The problem with the Switch 2 is I want to buy one, but I know if I buy one, it's going to become my son's Switch 2. Okay. Right? Like, so I'm not super motivated to get one.
I thought about it myself, but I'm like, what at this point would I be getting it for? I don't.
Future-proofing.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't have
anything that I'm like I need that for that I can't already play or.
Bonanza's great, but like
right.
The only thing that in a new Mario world,
besides getting a little bit new hardware and the new functions and things like that, I can't see myself using it right now.
My son is really pumped for Pokemon Legends ZA. He really wants to play it, and
that's on Switch 1 too.
It's on Switch 1 too, but also, there's a lot of games on Switch 1 that run like trash.
That's true.
And so
that's true.
In that sense, I would I'm kind of happy to do that.
How they tried to put like games on cloud on Switch, and none of those games went well.
Good Lord.
But,
yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
But I don't know. So Farm, you're a no for the Steam machine because you're like an OG PC user who wants to build your own PC, right?
Yeah. I am definitely more that way. I like building. Yeah. And honestly, this machine, if I wasn't like trying to stick to a budget, I would have just built something new, because that would have been so much easier, and I'd had it done, in like a couple days,
Yeah, 100%.
So,
D, where are you at with the Steam machine?
Well, I mean, I have my new
and the
PC,
Steam VR
so
stuff.
There's just no way. If I didn't have my new PC, it would at least be a consideration. But because the ROG Ally is kind of limited in terms of what it can do, right? Same as Steam Deck. They're handheld for a reason, but yeah, there's just no way I could ever justify getting a Steam, at least not at this point. Especially if most of the stuff, unless it has exclusives, almost everything on it will probably be on Steam on my PC. So
I will say this.
On your Xbox or on your PlayStation
or
5.
on my new Xbox in 2 years. Well, and that's the other thing too, right? Is I have to make sure my budget's flush for the new Xbox, new Xbox handheld,
all
right?
the good stuff coming out. Yeah,
come on, let's go.
Very true.
Series M finally coming.
I will say this. I think I am really interested, in the VR aspect of the Steam machine. So that is something that I'd like to see maybe one of these days getting into more. I've always enjoyed what David has shown me with his VR stuff, and I've always been excited about that. Just never had, never gotten into it. One of these days.
And I mean, maybe if the frame is really, really good, but also I think the frame will be compatible with PC at least at some point. Maybe not at launch, but at some point I think it will.
I am this in the same boat, Farm. So this is, I don't know that I don't want to say I'm all in because that price point is going to be a big thing for me, right? How much is it going to cost? If it's reasonable, I would love to have something that matches my Steam Deck, more power. I'm not playing certain games because I just know it's not going to run well on my Steam Deck. And even specifically, Farm, one of the things that they talked about is they are doing specific linking with the VR and the Steam Deck to have really fast streaming between them. And, until they announced this thing, I was I've never really considered doing anything VR just because, console and Mac.
Sure.
It's oh, wow, I could get a Steam machine. It would link with my Steam Deck. I could get the VR if I want it.
Well, and that's the thing too.
I don't know.
If they're working seamlessly, they've already kind of tailored it to this. That's what would be so nice about it. You just get it and you go.
Yeah.
And that would be the thing that would push me to get it a Steam machine. Honestly, if it was just okay,
it's the Apple of gaming, Farm. All of my Apple devices are in sync and do really well together. If I could do that with my gaming, that is a pretty big thing for me. So maybe I'm watching it. I signed up for it to be on my wish list.
It's also standalone too.
It is standalone, so you can actually install stuff onto it itself.
That's Steam Frame verified, yeah.
Yeah, that's Steam Frame verified. You can install stuff onto it itself, and you can stream from a Steam machine at it's really supposed to be great. So, who knows? Farm, maybe that's the future. Maybe D with his Meta. You have a Meta Quest
3.
3?
Technically a Quest 3S right now, yeah.
If we can play games Quest together, 3S. That would be great. Man, we can all play Ark together, and there can be giant poops. It would be crazy.
Or there's that Star Trek game where we all sit down and yell at each other over who's supposed to do what. That sounds great too.
And then the ship blows up. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
All right, you guys know what to do. Like and subscribe and tell people about it. And also, let us know if you are going to get a Steam machine.
And what you think will win at the Game Awards. It'll be Expedition 33. I don't know why I even said that.
It has to be It has to be, right. If anything else went, you know what? Let's not even talk about the Game Awards because I hate Jeff Keighley. Anyway, let's end on that note.
Any and NAV awards are way better anyway.
Yeah, bye. Get out of here, Craig.